Welcome to Talking Bengals, Bengals site made by the fans for the fans. Check out Talking Bengals on iTunes, Google Play, Buzzsprout, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Talking Bengals. Now, let's join the conversation. Hello and welcome to Talking Bengals. It's episode 20. We've been on for 20 weeks. I'm not sure if that's an awesome thing or just a thing that says, is anybody listening to us yet? But Nick, how are you doing?
Doing good. Hopefully people are listening to us, and I think we have some pretty good topics going on.
Well, I know we've had at least a few really loyal followers. I can see every week on our stats. So this week we're hoping not to disappoint you, even though we are in that off-season grind where it is just slow and not a whole heck of a lot's going on. I know everybody was all excited about, off-season activities or training activities, OTAs. But I'm not really that thrilled about the topic. What are we going to say? Well, they came out and they ran around a football field in helmets and pads. Cricket. Yeah, there's not much going on with that. So I'm going to talk about something else that happened off the field this week, or within the last week. Bengals rookies visit the Ronald McDonald House. Nick, what do you got?
I think it's an amazing thing to really get the rookies into the community. It really shows the rookies how the community works and how the community backs the team. It also gives them I can't remember the defensive end that we just drafted, but he made a good point, in an interview that he was doing. He said it gives the rookies time to spend together and get to know one another and get more acquainted with each other. So that way, when they're on the field, they can actually, come up together and play as a team. I think it would have been a good idea to get the entire Bengals roster there. If not now, maybe later on down the road, maybe during their bye week, they have a team function where they go to the, Ronald McDonald House. The Ronald McDonald House has a history of doing very good things, and I just think it's nice to see the Bengals rookies getting involved.
I do as well. Getting involved is huge, and this philanthropic work is part of, in my opinion, part of what being a professional athlete is. You're not just some, rich, spoiled player. You also have to give back to the community. You've been given a lot of great opportunities, and especially the team. The team is part of the city. So if you're part of the team, that means you're part of the city. So you got to contribute. And Jordan Willis had really good thoughts there. Get the rookies together, let them band together. And, it's just great. In my opinion, anytime you get these athletes out of their, their mindset of this is just me, or just football, and make them realize that, the world is bigger than they are. And that's why it's so important for the rookies to get out there, just out of college, getting their first, massive paycheck. I wish that's how big my first paycheck was out of college. That'd have been awesome. But, yeah, you're getting that big payday, and then you're realizing, okay, but level yourself out a little bit. Get your bearings back and understand that it's not just about football. It's about a community. It's about people who need things bigger and deeper than football. And, just showing up and saying, I'm a Cincinnati Bengal, put a smile on a kid's face. Put a smile on a family's face. So it's just awesome that, the Bengals do support the community like that. They're getting out there. They're getting after it. And, they're teaching the rookies that, you just had a great thing happen to you. Why don't you just, pay it forward and pass on the joy and make things a little bit better. So with that being said, that makes me think to a guy who would make a lot of us feel better if you just go ahead and sign a contract. Won't get into it too much because we're going to hit on it later. But Joe Mixon, will you ever sign?
I tell you what, the interview that I saw with him while he was at the Ronald McDonald House, I was fairly impressed, to be quite honest with you. I hope he does sign. I hope he signs, sooner rather than later. But like you said, we'll get into that a little bit later.
Well, it just makes me wonder, what is he waiting on? And, he seems like he's trying to connect with the community a whole lot. I'm just not sure if maybe the Bengals front office didn't make him a huge priority thus far, but it's about time to start making your second round, or could have been a first round pick, a little bit more solid and not leave him flapping out there in the wind. But we'll jump into that a little bit later. But what that does make me think of moves into our next topic, talking about offenses. Joe Mixon could be a big contributor for our offense. And I saw an article this week that just, ticked me off. There was two articles, actually. One of them talked about, the teams like the terrible, the below average, the mediocre, the good, and the great. And of course, the Bengals ended up in the mediocre. They're not bad. They're not good. They're just mediocre. But in the great or awesome, it's actually what even just in the great, it was in the awesome, was the Pittsburgh Steelers. Are you kidding me? And then I looked at another article. So that one already had me fired up. And the second one that got me fired up was it says, who has the best offense in the AFC? The Patriots or the Steelers? Patriots, I'll give them their due. They have a great offense. Anytime you have Tom Brady and any bunch of no-name players, you have a great offense. But the Steelers, really, Nick?
I'm sorry, you can't put the Steelers in with Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. You just can't do it. You can't do it. You have Tom Brady as your quarterback, and then all of a sudden you try to bring in Ben Roethlisberger, which in my eyes, Ben Roethlisberger is only lucky. I don't see him as being very good. He's large. He's slow. He just wings the ball. I mean, honestly, Tim Tebow was at least an athlete, but the circumstances around him, they didn't give him an opportunity in the NFL just based off his religion. And they didn't like his arm angle or something stupid. But, I don't know. I think the Bengals definitely have a better offense. They're going to have a better offense this year than the Steelers. I think that the Steelers are going to have a down year this year, just simply going based off of whether or not they bring Roethlisberger back into the mix or not. I think Big Ben or Fat Ben needs to retire. I think he needs to be done. He's not going to go out on top like he wants to. He's not going to do what Peyton Manning did. He's not going to do Brett Favre and go out on a good season. He just needs to retire, or else he's not going to be able to walk for the next 20 years.
Well, it just ticked me off. I don't understand how you can – who's on the Steelers roster right now? That's my question. I know you got Brown and, what's his face that ends up in jail that Burfict likes to break his leg? I can't even think of his name. Nick, help me if you can think of it. What's his name?
I can't think of it.
Number 26. Shoot, I can't think of it. He's too much of a thug to even remember his name, so whatever. But seriously, those are the only two offensive threats I can really think about on the Steelers roster. You got a quarterback that's getting old and fat and not really doing a whole lot anymore. So I don't understand how in the heck you could calculate them to even be in the top two offenses. Look at the Bengals. Andy Dalton is, a B, between a B minus B plus quarterback, so that's not bad. But you have A.J. Green, one of the best 2 or 3 receivers in the league. Now you just picked up this John Ross kid. Cody Core's coming around. Tyler Boyd's going to be solid. You got Tyler Eifert if he stays healthy. And then on top of that, you're going to sign Joe Mixon for the love of God, please sign. And then you still got Jeremy Hill, Gio Bernard. So you got all these guys who not only, have shown that they're great players at some level, but, I think the backfield now, once you add Mixon to it, maybe that makes Hill play a little bit better. Maybe that makes Gio play a little better. It's going to force them to, jump out of their comfort zone. So you're really just telling me that the Pittsburgh Steelers, with all of 2 guys, are going to be better than the Bengals? Oh, it's just a ridiculous statement. And to even try to put them in the same caliber as, any kind of Tom Brady offense is just ridiculous. I don't understand, who are these writers? Do they have anything better to do with their time than just make up bullcrap stories? Just absolutely terrible stories. I don't even know. The words just make me very angry at this thought.
Let's just stop talking about that because it seems like the writers for at least sports news and the major outlets, it just seems like they're almost like the major media outlets for the talk news for political crap. It's like they just say things and then don't try to back anything up. They just want to say whatever. Just say it.
Yeah, that's very true, and it aggravates you. And I'm going to get off the topic here in just a second, but so the ESPN and Sports Illustrated and all these other NFL sites or whatever, there's cities other than New York, Denver, Pittsburgh, and Seattle, San Francisco. There's more teams and more cities than just that. So can we please stop talking about the same teams over and over and over again? New England, Green Bay. Let's get to the rest of the country where, if you take away a couple of those big cities, that's where most of us live, is in the rest of the country. But I digress. Moving on into roasted or boasted. Nick, what's your first topic this week?
The topic that I like to bring up, obviously, is Mixon. And roasted or boasted, Casey, I will let you go first. Joe Mixon will sign before the season opener, before the regular season opening game.
I'm going to boast that 100%. I think he'll sign before training camp. I don't think he wants to get any kind of, black eye or any kind of issue or problem or, give the fans or the city or the team any reason to doubt him. So maybe right now, they're in negotiations. It's just not quite going the way they wanted to, or maybe the team just hasn't made him a top priority. They're trying to see, what he's going to do, how he's going to act before they really give him an offer. But if he's smart, he will sign before the season. Definitely should sign before training camp. Show I'm here for football. I'm ready to play. I'm ready to contribute. And this is going to be, my second chance. This is going to be my time to shine. I'm going to do the right thing and be a great player both on and off the field. So boasting that 100%.
I'm going to boast it as well. You started hitting on a good point that I think. Maybe the Bengals are holding out signing him until almost training camp just to see, how he is off the field and see how he's going to relate with the team and see how the city's going to react to him. That may be a good point. It may be a good point that, maybe the team is just holding out for right now signing him. Maybe he doesn't even have the option to sign the actual contract right now. Maybe there's some verbal agreement that's hush-hush between him and the team where, he has to be on good behavior or show them that he's willing to be a professional athlete before anything else, before he's even able to sign the contract. I don't know. That's just a thought. There's no facts to back it up or anything. It's just a random thought.
Yeah, there's no facts to back that up, no. But my roasted or boasted topic that I'm going with is, kind of a spinoff of what we were talking about a little bit earlier. So dealing with news media and major sports outlets, who's going to get the Bengals will get positive publicity on ESPN before Donald Trump gets positive publicity on CNN. Roasted or boasted?
I'm going to roast it because Donald Trump's already had at least once where CNN had positive feedback on him. It was very short-lived, but he did have some positive feedback on there. Is it Don Lemon that's on there? I don't know. It's one of the guys. He said something positive about Donald Trump. So I'm going to go ahead and just roast that because, honestly, I don't remember in recent history ESPN even giving the Bengals any publicity on anything positive except for maybe one or two top 10 plays on the SportsCenter top 10. That's about it. Or they're on a primetime game and they have to show the game on their network because they have contracts. That's what I can remember.
I'm definitely gonna boast that because, like I said, I don't know, maybe I missed that one segment where CNN was being nice to the president, but oh goodness, the Bengals do get a lot of hate that I've seen when they ever are mentioned on the NFL Network or ESPN. But I still think they'll get something more positive said about them. Maybe that first week of the season they'll somehow not run everything about Pittsburgh or New York, and they might actually mention the Bengals, winning a game to start off the season. First time they've had a home opener in years, so maybe it'll get a little bit of positive press, and that'd be good. But I don't know. I said if they could just give the president a little bit more, leeway. I saw something the other day where he like high-fived a guy at Arlington during Memorial Day, like some guy's son. And I heard one of the news outlets actually bash that, saying he was being not genuine. So that's just terrible. But this is not a political show. If we wanted it to be politics, we would stay on that topic. But I do think the Bengals need a little bit more love from ESPN and NFL Network. So coming up on another roasted or boasted topic, with summer quickly approaching, Memorial Day weekend just got concluded. We're going into the wonderful time of year that I enjoy so much. And in the Cincinnati area, there's two places that come to mind for, summertime fun, at least in my opinion, especially as a teenager. And it brings up the age-old debate: amusement park or water park, the beach or Kings Island. So I'm going to say the question is, Kings Island is better than the beach, roasted or boasted?
Kings Island is not better than the beach. Mostly because when it's hot outside, I don't want to go sit on some hot metal or some hot ride and then get drug around these tracks and on some man-made tracks, and all of a sudden I fall off because it's man-made and someone made a mistake. And next thing you know, I'm flying 110 feet down to my death. I like water parks. I don't mind them, especially compared to Kings Island. If you can swim, you can control pretty much your own destiny at a water park. But at an amusement park like Kings Island, I'm sorry, I'm gonna roast that all day. I don't like Kings Island at all. I would much rather go and chill out in some water, especially when it's hot out, all day long.
I think we just found a new fear of Nick's. I didn't know you had a fear of roller coasters and that they're going to fall apart with you on it, but okay. But I'm definitely going to boast.
Terrifying fear. I mean, I'm completely afraid of it.
Well, lucky for you, you do your job and not my job, because it's about the same as a roller coaster. But yeah, so no, I'm definitely going to boast Kings Island is better than the beach. There's just more variety. And Kings Island has a water park, but I guess that's kind of cheating, so I'll leave that one off. I won't mention that. But I mean, seriously, roller coaster, you can go 60, 80, 90 miles an hour. That gets you nice and cooled off. The seats can't get that hot because you're going so fast. There's only been a few people fall off in the last, decade or so. And don't grab up for people's feet and you'll be fine.
And people's feet get chopped off, same thing, no big deal.
Yeah. Those are the calculated risks you have to take in life. Sometimes, you just got to say, what the fudge, and just go for it. Sometimes you just got to do it. So amusement parks definitely beating water park. Even in the summer, I do love the water. I like the beach. But if I'm going to a beach, I want it to be the actual beach, the sand, the sun, all the good stuff. If I'm going for a day in fun in greater Cincinnati and I have to pick one of the two, I'm going to Kings Island. It's just going to happen. Just like Sam Marsh said after the AFC Championship game, I'm going to Kings Island, even though it's closed in November. But that's the place to go. Nobody says they're going to the beach water park. They say they're going to Kings Island.
I'm going to have a rebuttal on this because Kings Island is open for certain events after Halloween.
Not in 1988, it wasn't. Yeah, I got to remember there. The Bengals were last time they won the AFC Championship. You weren't even born yet.
Well, Casey, not all of us are old enough to remember that. I don't believe I was even thought of for the last AFC Championship, but it's okay. But yeah, I water park all day long because, the water gets filtered, it gets chlorinated, it gets sanitized. I'm sorry, but you're on a roller coaster that is mechanical, that literally like a half a millimeter, and all of a sudden your seat's flying off the ride. You say calculated risk. Why don't you just take a calculated risk and just go drive that fast?
Nick, everybody is entitled to their opinion, and your opinion is wrong. But we'll move past this roasted or boasted topic and go into our 50th season reflections. So this week I was racking my brain trying to think about who's a good blue-collar player to talk about. We kind of got a little bit, showtime last week with Tim Crumry. He was a star player. So let's try to pick a guy that had a long stint with the Bengals, but, kind of floated under the radar, but made some memorable plays. And a guy who came to my mind was Tony McGee. So, Nick, what you got on Tony?
Well, first of all, we got one heck of a deal with him. Got him in the second round, 37th overall in the 93 draft. He started the first year that we got him. I mean, he started pretty much every game until 1993. I think isn't that when he had his ankle injury or knee? It was a knee injury. My bad. Oh, never mind. That was December 2001. Completely, I was way off on that one. Not even starting with an S. But yeah, I mean, he had a great season. He got replaced with Matt Schobel, unfortunately. We know how that one turned out. And yeah, I mean, he had a good long career with us, and then unfortunately he got released and then got picked up by a couple other teams and didn't make it.
I mean, when it comes down to it, I mean, those are definitely some memorable things with Tony McGee that I actually remember witnessing live. Back to my nostalgia of being a kid growing up in a Synergy Field, watching a lot of games, and then Paul Brown after that. But it was the '96 season. That season that's oh so magical for me because that's the first time that I got to see a lot of wins in a row. Yes, they started off 1-7, terrible, but then to go win 7 of your last 8 games is pretty awesome. And there was I can't remember the team they played against, but I just remember there was one play where he snuck out from the line, acted like he almost fell over, and Jeff Blake threw a little lob to him, and he caught it and then just laid out on the ground almost like a snow angel type position. And everybody just, jumped up and cheered, and it was an awesome play. And, it was just he made memorable plays like that. And, I mean, the only other thing I remember about him is I think he's the last Bengals player that I can remember that got ejected from a game. I think they were playing either the Jaguars or the Titans or somebody, and he had gotten he got hit or something and then got in an argument with the ref, and the ref threw him out. And I was just like, wow, I don't think I've ever seen a football player get thrown out. Seen lots of baseball players, but don't think I've ever seen a football player get thrown out. But he's just one of those guys that, was a great contributor. He just did things the right way. He tried, and he was what the tight end from the 90s was. You weren't getting, your huge numbers. You didn't have your Gronks or your other players like that. You didn't have a Tyler Eifert. So, that's just what a tight end did. You blocked a lot. You caught some passes, maybe a touchdown or two if you were lucky. But he was just an everyday type tight end. He could go out there. He played hard. He did things the right way. He wasn't causing trouble except when he got ejected. And, he was reliable for that touchdown catch near the end zone. Something to just – when Carl Pickens couldn't get open, Darnay Scott couldn't get open, you had Tony McGee as a very reliable option to go to. So it's players like that I think really define the Bengals franchise like we talked about every week. We're mentioning these guys because not everybody mentions them. These are people that people may forget about. Like I said, we like Pecco. We talked about him a couple weeks ago, but 5, 10, 15 years from now, how many people are really going to be saying Domata Pecco? Not that many. Just like how many people actually remembered that Tony McGee played for the Bengals. And I know if you were born, after 2001 or you probably even 2001, you probably don't remember him that much, but if you were not a kid growing up watching him play, you didn't get to enjoy, just seeing what a contributor he was, how much he meant to the team, how much the team meant to him. And like you said, even though he did get replaced by Matt Schobel, who we have opposite views on, so we're going to have to bring him up at some point. But, just he was a great player, great contributor, and he is our salute to the 50th year reflection this week. So that's going to almost bring us to the end here. I'm going to let you get to your final thoughts.
Well, I'm going to say something back on Tony McGee. We know why Casey got him because, the whole ejection thing. I believe there was one instance when we were growing up, Casey, especially playing baseball, where there was a third baseman, if I believe, on the base. And you guys may have had an argument back and forth before this.
Well, the story you're alluding to, I was actually the third baseman. He was the base runner. I caught the ball, went to tag him, but actually decided to just shove him off the bag because if he's off the bag, he's out, in my opinion. Unfortunately, that doesn't fly. So I got thrown out of a game in coach pitch. Thanks, Ump. That's going to teach a little 6-year-old something. What a bully.
But now everybody knows why Casey just loves Tony McGee. That was why he picked Tony McGee this week. Anyways, into the final.
I've only been thrown out of 4 baseball games ever. Only 4.
That's it? I've been threatened a couple of times by the umpire. I marked the about 6 inches off the plate where he called strike 3 on me while I was pitching. I was hitting, and then that was the third out of the inning. I looked back at the umpire and I said, "This is the line where it crossed. I better get that when I come back out." Yeah, that didn't go over so hot, in 12-year-old All-Star game. Anyways, final thoughts. So Tiger Woods getting arrested, DUI, blah, blah, blah. Okay, misdemeanor, it's DUI. Yeah, they're bad, but at the same time, thank God he didn't kill anybody doing it. And supposedly it was his prescription medication. Back to the Bengals. Hopefully. Mixon signs, gets that out of the way. The Bengals come to their senses and gets everything taken care of with salaries and everything prior to the preseason games starting. And hopefully they have a really good idea of where they want everybody on the roster, especially the offensive linemen. You have a couple offensive linemen that could play either or maybe even another position on the complete opposite side of the ball, like a center playing offensive guard or tackle, somewhere along those lines. Hopefully before they even get into these preseason workouts, and I can't wait for this. I can't wait. It's coming up on June. I'm getting itchy. I'm getting real itchy to watch the Bengals start playing.
Well, yes, we definitely need football season to come, and part of that is because the Reds are really starting to falter right now. They got waxed last night. There's no other way to talk about it. Was it 17-2? But, I didn't expect much from the Reds this year. They've been somewhat entertaining, so that's good. But I'd really like to just get to football season here soon because you know what? That's what I'm waiting to see. This is the team, in my opinion, that could win a championship for Cincinnati at this point in time. So, let's just get to it. So, final thoughts this week, rookies, keep doing the right thing. Keep building on what you've done so far. And, just get better every day. If you're that undrafted free agent who, is trying to make the team, just go out there and work hard. You never know. It could happen. So just stay focused, do the right thing, and let's bring home a championship for Cincinnati this year. So that's going to wrap it up for us this week on Talking Bengals. You can check us out on iTunes, Google Play, Buzzsprout. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And have a wonderful week. Hoo-day.